Oh,
Joyful rise, great afternoon and great evening wherever you are. I am Matriarch Diana, aka Empress Lady Ariel, here on Terrific Tuesday. So I'm coming to you guys with a video about my paranormal encounters. I have a list of them, so I may have to do a part 2. I'm gonna go ahead and dive into this. I know for a lot of us who grew up in religious culture or religious life, we were taught that we cannot talk to the dead. We were taught that you can only talk to God through Yeshua or Jesus Christos, Jesus, right? And especially the talking to the dead part, it was a no-no or a sin, right? But here are a list of different stories that I have for myself with my personal encounters with spirits. Growing up in this house I moved in, I was about 8, going into second semester. This house, I could feel a presence, heavy presences in it, right? And it was said that the woman who sold the house to my mother, her husband had died, and they claimed that he died in the house, but I know I felt some things. So my first encounter with that I can recall was when I was 13, and in the school year of 2001-2002, there was a really bad snowstorm here in Kansas City, Missouri to be exact, right? And so we stayed at this guy's house who we called Uncle Larry. And then when his heat went out, then we ended up staying at one of my favorite aunt's houses, my great aunt, right? It was a blessing to be able to grow up all the way into my 20s with her. And so we went to her house. And at the time we had to go there not only for a warm source, right? But also my mother had a daycare at the time. So of course she had to have a presentable place for the babies to come to. So I remember one night when I was laying in this bed. And so I don't know if you guys know how shotgun houses are. Like, you can open the front door and then you can see straight through the kitchen and then straight to the back door. And so the way her house was set up, when you go in, you open the door, there are steps going up to the left to go to the upstairs part of the rooms and stuff. And then to the right was the was the living room area. And then straight going back to the right was the dining area. Yeah, living room and then dining. And then she had like a twin size bed back against the dining area, against the wall. And so myself and one of my siblings were laying there one night, and my great aunt had one of these old school lamps. Like, it had the bubble that looked like yellow amber sap, and you can kind of see a dim light through it, to the point where I'm laying there, I see a shadow of a man, like lower haircut and everything, walking past. And I was like, oh snap. And of course I don't say nothing to my sister, because of course I felt like somebody would think I'm lying or I'm crazy. And I was waiting though, like, to see if it was my cousin Marshall, who was staying upstairs. He had a room upstairs. However, he doesn't have a low haircut. He is a bit bald in the middle, and he had hair on the outside. He had an afro, and he would wear a hat in the middle. So I knew it wasn't him, but I waited to see if I was going to see somebody, and I didn't hear no footsteps, and I didn't see nobody. And I was like, oh, sniblets, okay, cool. So then another situation happened when I was pregnant with my first irrelevant relative of a child, right? Yeah, one day we'll talk about why I quote her as that. But I was 19 at the time, so into the paranormal activity show. My great-granddad passed away when I was about 16. And so what's crazy is he passed away at the end of March, and his Earth Strong, or what people call birthday, was April the 7th, and he ended up being buried on his Earth Strong, April the 7th. Okay, so around this time I'm pregnant. It had to have been like summer. Yeah, it was about the summertime. And so when they were talking about in the paranormal activity show how to communicate with your past loved ones, right? I was looking into that, right? Because I really, desired to know what was up. And I know I had seen dreams and had received visits, and didn't know at the time it was called visitations from the past over loved ones. And so I was like, okay, granddaddy, If you hear, please show me a sign that you hear. I want to know that you're here. Like my granddaddy Ben, one of my greatest grandfathers great grandfathers in the world. And like, once again, I was blessed to have not only my grandparents, but great grandparents and great aunts and uncles in my life. Cool. So as I'm walking, so the way my mother's house is, you walk straight in to the right at the whole living room area. Once you get to the door, you just go to the right to the kitchen and go left to the dining area towards the bedrooms. I didn't even hit the door near the kitchen yet, y'all. And this saucepan that was literally in the middle of the jar rack, it had been there for like most of the day. All of a sudden went ping in the middle of the floor, and I ran, hauled ass, okay? Because I was like, oh snap, yo, this is for real. Like, oh man. And I wasn't scared. I was just like, tad spooked, but like, wow, like, dang, like, this is for real, wow. So fast forward, need I remind y'all, in the midst of giving birth to my child it was almost 17 years ago, her and I almost transitioned. We almost passed away. Like, my body started going through, what's they called, toxemia, where it was trying to kill her and trying to, and raising my blood pressure, like, through the roof to the point where I needed oxygen. She ended up being a preemie, 2 pounds and 4 ounces, 14 inches long. And so when she was 4, she would say, she was 3 going into 4, she would say she would see these monsters. And I'm one of those parents, like, I'm one of those divine earth guardians, right? Who, when it comes to listening to what my baby got to say, I'm listening to what she got to say. You understand? Because I already know that whatever she about to say, it's got to have some meaning to it. And so here it is. She done sat there and been saying for a while that she's been seeing monsters. And I was like, okay, where are you seeing them at? She said, I'm seeing them in my room. I'm always seeing them in my room. I'm like, where are they coming from? They're coming through my window. And I'm like, wow, they're coming through your window? And she says, yes. So here it is. One night, I'm talking to my god sister's mom, and she was like, one of those demons are trying to take her out. They are trying to take her out. But get ready for part 2, y'all.